Hi everyone, I'm Quinn and welcome to Away and Roam. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my best packing tips as the self-proclaimed best packer on the East Coast. That may be a bit of an exaggeration, but I do fancy myself a pretty great packer. And I want you to be able to say the same for yourself. So here are 7 things that I think are key to making sure that you are on top of your packing game. Number 1, keep a go-to packing list on your phone. You want to leave as little room for guesswork as possible. So I have a list in my phone at all times of what I'm going to take for just like any basic trip. Obviously there's going to be things that you add if you're going to a cold place, if you're going for longer term. You forget the silliest things sometimes, especially if you're in a rush. Number 2, always have your toiletry bag packed. Whether I'm in a season where I'm traveling every month or I have a really long dry spell, I always have a toiletry bag handy with everything that I'll need. I'm talking floss, deodorant, face wash, all of that, it's staying in my bag. If anything runs out on a previous trip, I'm refilling it and putting it right back in that toiletry bag. If you forget soap or something on a trip and you're going to Argentina, you can stop at a corner store and pick that up. But if I'm forgetting my leave-in conditioner, like spray for my braids or something like that, no, I'm gonna have a really bad trip. So I'm making sure that everything's packed and ready to go to make sure I don't have to waste any extra money buying something full size when I go somewhere or left suffering because I didn't take the right hair supplies with me. On top of those regular things, I make sure I also have close by a microfiber towel and some flip-flops because I'm usually staying in a hostel and those things really come in handy for the shower. Number 3, I don't want to get controversial, but just roll your clothes. It's the quickest way to save space. It keeps out any wrinkles. It looks neat, it keeps things compact. And while we're talking about packing, just put them in a packing cube as well. This keeps things organized and wrinkle-free and just easy to grab, especially if you're traveling with a backpack or something where everything is pretty tight. Another thing I just want to note about packing cubes, it can just keep your brain organized. I like to put all of my undergarments in one packing cube, all of my pants in another. If I'm looking for something, I know exactly where to find it. It allows for an extra bit of organization that can really just make your life a little bit easier. So roll your clothes and stick them in a packing cube. Number 4, have your travel uniform. This is not just for your flight, but for your whole trip. I know that I have clothes in my closet that are going with me on every trip I'm on. My favorite black t-shirt, I have my favorite dress, I have my favorite jean shirt. All those things are things that I know that can be the base of some great outfits. This just helps me to not take a bunch of extra things that I hope might look good, that I want to try out. International travel is not my fashion show. I like to wear things that I know I look good in and not be too experimental. Number 5, and sadly I had to learn this from some not so great experiences, put your must-haves that you need to leave the country, like your ID, your passport, your boarding pass, in your bag first. Here's the trick, put them in a place that's visible and open, like a slightly open pocket. This is so that you're making sure that as you're packing, you're positive that you're seeing them and you don't have any surprises once you get to the airport. I had been in a season when I was living in Greece, when I was traveling constantly. I was gone maybe every other weekend, and I had gotten so used to packing my bag and just hitting the road. And I started to rest on my laurels a bit, and I was so sure that I had my passport in my bag. Of course, right as I walked through the airport doors, I felt my bag, felt my pockets, realized there was no passport. I had very little time to rush back to my apartment, go back to the airport. It was a headache. I was so sure that I had my passport packed in a little hidden pocket that I always put it in. So that just taught me, next time I want to make sure that I'm constantly looking at my passport, I can see it while I'm packing, and I'm not just assuming that it's there because I've done it so many times before. Number 6, and I mentioned this a bit in my point about rolling your clothes, but organize your clothes not just by type of clothing, but in the order you'll be wearing them. For example, I always have my pajamas right at the top of my bag, so when I get to my destination and it's pretty late, I can just take off my clothes, open my backpack, see what's right at the top, pull my pajamas out. No thinking there, because I know I'll be exhausted when I get to where I'm going. And number 7, this was another one I learned from experience, but leave extra room or take an empty bag with you. I don't shop too much when I'm home in America, but I pick up a lot of clothes, accessories, shoes when I go abroad, and I prepare for that. I don't want to have a bag that's filled to the brim, but I'm going to my trip and not have anywhere to put these beautiful new pieces that I pick up when I'm away. So I usually leave some extra space in my bag, or if I'm really planning on shopping, I'll pack an empty side bag, and I always make sure that I have extra space to fill in some of my souvenirs. This is a pretty great tip because it saves you from being that person in the airport that gets your bag weighed and having the flight attendant tell you, oh, looks like your bag's a little heavy, like you might have to throw some things out. This also keeps you from being the person that has to wear 7 layers of clothes that don't match because you have nowhere else to put it. So save yourself a little bit of the headache. Have an extra bag handy so you can put all those fun things that you pick up and easily take them back home. So those are my 7 tips. Once you get these practices down and a part of your routine, I know that you'll be able to pack for a trip at the drop of a hat, or maybe even with your eyes closed. Let me know if I missed anything down below in the comments. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say because I'm always looking for ways to kind of up my game in this area. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.